if you don't have honesty and good communication, your foundation is it's very rocky.
Absolutely.
Right.
And if I don't feel safe, say But
right. And something about that too, about like men and their feminine sides is like, like when we share with you things about our lives and we don't get a reciprocation back, like you can be interested and like receptive to what we're saying, but if we don't get like anything back from you, it's just hard to have that deeper level conversation, which I think is lacking from a lot of guys. And then we put a wall up, because we feel like we're the only ones sharing, and it's really important to have that like back and forth and openness between
or if they
each
use
other.
it against you, like if you
Right.
open up stuff like that was my toxic trait. Like I'll be honest, I've been toxic like that before. Girl that I was seeing like would open up like all these things, like she shares stuff about her life that maybe she's not proud of, or just some shit that she's been through, like 'cause we all been through our own shit. And like they do that coming from like a sense of trust and like in that safe space where they feel like they can share this with you. And then 2-3 months later down the road, when the next big fight comes up, you use it against them.
You did that?
Yeah, I've done that
That's
before.
a huge thing.
Yeah. Well, I feel like
I don't realize how bad.
I've done it
it's
before
weird.
too.
I feel
Absolutely.
I feel like it's one of those things like everyone does it.
Yeah,
like
it
everyone
happens.
does that
if
shit.
it continues to be a pattern all the time,
I
then you're
just
kind of
can't
a POS. But.
See, I guess I don't. I try to not use things in their life against them. I guess maybe I'd be like, if I was dating a girl and she changes jobs all the time and never has a stable job, I'd be like, well, your past looks like you're not going to keep this job, because I've been in that situation. But more times for me, I found is if I was with a girl and we have a fight and there's like a problem and then I forgive them, I stayed forgiving them, but then they would bring up stuff that they supposedly forgave me about every time we fought, and I was like, that was just my experiences. So I don't know if I'll.
I think that's just, I mean, I've been through that too, also, and I don't really know how.
Because I was like, man, I thought we were past that. Like, why are you bringing that up?
I think it has a lot to do with like how much you've worked on yourself too, and like, have you really let that go, or are you still holding that inside of you, which is like work that you have to do on your own.
Well, and there's usually like root issues. Like it's not like this. One incident might be like brought up over and over because there's like a deeper root issue, and so that I don't know your situation, but that could be it.
I think when that happened in my circumstance, I was revealing residue of the past where the person had to say, all right, you told me when you do this, you're cheating, and this is how you did in the past. If there's any residue of that for both parties, the person will resurrect that conversation. It's like, oh, you're on your phone again. You're not answering for 2-3 days. That's you told me when you were doing that. This is what you were doing. The residue plays a factor in somebody bringing up the past, but it's unhealthy. It's really unhealthy.
Well, I will say, like, if you're dating someone and you're not answering the phone for 2 or 3 days, I can understand them
I
thinking
would
that.
be pretty upset.
Yeah,
but
that's not acceptable. It's like,
No.
when you're
I'm just saying my point.
when you're in a
depending
committed
on where you're at,
relationship,
yeah.
at least, Like if you're just like your friends with benefits, or you just start hanging out, like if you don't text someone for a day, but like one of my good buddies, like
No, he said 2 or 3 days.
I know. No, one of my good buddies, like he was dating this girl for over a year, and she'll go like 3 days without talking to him.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah,
weird.
red
That's
flag.
fucking
Yeah,
bizarre.
that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? She has to give a reasoning behind that.
I know.
Well, so did
She would do it with no reasoning.
She
did
with
you
no
do it with reasoning? So what was?
But even
I
then,
used to be
do we
I
really
used to be
need
a
to dig into
womanizer.
it?
I used to be a severe promiscuous guy.
Okay.
And I'm open. Like when I go on a date, that's probably why. Anywho, so I'm open about the past. Hey, this is the man I was that God has changed and has healed. I struggle. I'm a flawed man, and the honesty of that. And people are like, how dare you? You're a pastor. It's like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a flawed man.
Right.
I don't live the same lifestyle
As
anymore.
we all are.
More.
Right.
So when that conversation happens, there's more inquiries about how are you dating multiple women? Oh, easy. I would just tell them I'm going to go hoop, and then
Yep.
so
How do you have energy for that? That takes a lot of
Yeah.
energy.
it does. Well,
Really?
not back then.
Not really.
Like,
When you're
I'm just
young, you
lazy,
got
I
enough
guess.
energy
Yeah.
for that.
I suppose.
It may
my
not
thing is
run.
like you got to be a good liar. And you got to keep a track of a lot of different stories.
I know, but it just like is so like, don't you ever just get tired and just want to like take a nap and like
Well, no. So
it's like you're running.
Not really.
Guys are never tired enough. When it comes
it's
to,
Yeah.
it
Get
back. It
some
was
pussy.
I need some testosterone.
Yeah.
it's a thrill of the next one. It's a thrill.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
So like
a
almost like an
chase.
addiction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Similar?
yeah.
Okay.
And so it would come back up if like I went to go play ball for an hour and then I went to the mall afterwards. And it's like,
You
what'd you do?
screw yourself.
Where you at? I'm at the mall. I thought you said you were going to play ball.
Oop.
I did play ball, but I only played for an hour. Now it's unhealthy because I'm not
Yeah.
going to sit up and explain my every whereabouts.
Well, and I
to-
feel like too, when you get into that situation, it's not even worth sticking around with that person because once that trust has been lost, then you deal with the same shit over and over and over again, having the same conversations, the same fight. It's never gonna change, you know.
Yeah.
As much as you want to believe that trust can be rebuilt, I personally like. I don't know.
Could you
I
date
feel
it? Could you guys deal with the guy long term that has a bad past?
I did.
Absolutely. A bad past, yes.
It's not a bad
Yeah.
past.
But like a bad
necessarily,
past
but yeah,
that involves
womanizer.
me, like if you were doing that shit in the beginning of when we were together, there's no way. Because you could never let it go.
Do you? So you
It's
guys.
it's a structure of it's a foundation of the home that you're building
I
with
wouldn't
somebody.
deal with it now, probably, just because I have so much damage done that now I have to
Yeah.
fix.
So this might be a hard question. So is love conditional?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it used to not be, actually, for me. I used to think that my partner should have unconditional love. And so the really interesting thing about that is that, like, I think everybody should have, like, a certain type of unconditional love, like everything that lives. But, like, also, like the Bob Marley quote, like, everybody's going to hurt you. You just have to find the people worth suffering for. I
Yep.
used to, like, live by that quote because I was dealing with a guy that was, like, a huge
on you
woman.
all the time.
Well, I mean, we were, like...
Sleeping with everybody.
Did you
He
catch
was
him?
slept with
cheating-
a lot.
he was cheating on you a lot?
So we had an open relationship in college. Like, we were just friends with benefits, but we hung out all the time. But, like, and at first he was very open about it. Like, he would go be in a threesome and then come to my dorm room and hang out and, like, tell me all about it. And we'd laugh about it and, like, whatever. Like, we'd fuck later. Like, whatever. It was fine. But, like, it got weird. Well, I ended up having sex with his best friend. So that was a big no-no because
Yeah.
none of my best friends... He tried
but see,
to
that's
have...
kind of weird though, right?
You did that?
I did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but so long story short, like years later, we tried to be exclusive, and the thing is that I knew who he was,
Yeah.
and I was even willing to accept that and be like, we can deal with that as long as I have honesty. But it was
Yeah.
the lack of honesty that I couldn't handle. Like, don't lie to me. Like, just I can handle the truth, but I can't handle somebody living a life and like getting delight out of duping me.
It kind of
Like,
goes
don't-
back, yeah. Kind
I'm
of
not
goes
a
back to
fool.
what I said at the beginning about
Did
like you get these versions of people just imprinted in your head, and like that version of
Well-
him though was kind of like imprinted there. So when they came back later on, that's the guy
But
that,
he
But
was
he
still
also
the
you
same.
remembered.
he also didn't take responsibility for it because at the very like when we started like
He was
talking
still
again.
doing the same shit.
I mean, he was sort of doing the same stuff, but
doing the same shit.
well, the other thing is that like
But at the same time, you're in an open relationship though.
No.
Like, but at the
not
beginning,
yeah,
At the beginning,
and,
yes.
and that was in college, and we went to Winona. I mean, it was like a 5-to-1 ratio,
Yeah,
girls.
that's
to
how I
guys.
feel, 'cause I was in an
let him
open
live his life.
relationship,
We were
too.
both young. I didn't want to be tied down necessarily either, but like I had never experienced like love at first sight, and that was him. Like I did everything for him, but so.
I think love at first sight's a fallacy. I
It
don't think
i-
it's
it
a real
is.
thing. Yeah.
It is because what it really was is that it was reflecting like a lot of my childhood trauma, and yeah, so I used to have unconditional love, but like now it's very conditional on just like boundaries, like
Boundaries,
yeah.
yeah.
There's things I'm not going to put up with, and so my love might be unconditional, but my presence in your life is not.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it. Like I might always love that person, but that doesn't mean I have to put up and deal with them like
Yeah.
fucking with me, I guess.